Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Ray's Crafty Corner podcast, and I am your host, Ray / Rachel, depending on what I say when you ask me. And here we are, doing episode 2, which is quite strange. Although I said in my last one that I was gonna do 2 weekly, but stuff has happened in the past week that I feel like I want to make another podcast now before I forget stuff and B more stuff happens, because I'm a terrible memory person like that. But yes, before I go and forget after this, I'm on Ravelry as Ray Louise May, so it's R-A-Y Louise May, M-A-Y. I shall link it maybe somewhere, I don't know. And I'm on Instagram as Ray Reads a Lot, and I shall also put the link for that. I do have a Twitter as well, but I tend to tweet bookish stuff like that. So at the moment my Instagram is kind of a strange melange of knitting, crochet and books. So it's pretty confusing for the book people who follow me, and also confusing for the knitting people who follow me, but I don't want to set up 2 accounts. But yes, episode 2. It's very intriguing, and I'm today shooting from my office, since I thought it's quite a funky background, and you can sort of see here my little tiny collection of knitting books that I and crochet books that I have so far, guarded by Natasha Romanoff, because the Avengers have got my back. But yes, I want to first start off with some kind of thank you shout outy things, because they're in the past week from when I made my first podcast. There have been some very lovely people who have made me feel very welcome, and I want to say first massive thank you to JB of JB's Fab podcast, and she's JB Cohen on Ravelry and Instagram. I shall link to her stuff down below, because she messaged me not long after I did my first podcast. I was like, hi, I've kind of been lurking your YouTube videos for quite a while, and I really like your book videos, so I thought I'd say hi. I'm like, oh, cool. So it's I now have a Canadian knitter friend, so that's yeah. And she also invited me to sort of pop by her virtual knit night. VKN, I had to ask what it was because I had no idea, on Monday. So I went to that, and I sat here and I went on the Google Hangout, and that was very cool, because I also in the virtual knit night got to speak to Dave and Ellie of FO and I, and I've since subscribed to their podcast, and Dave actually mentioned me in their last podcast, which I finished watching this morning, because I started watching it yesterday and then had to go out, so I kind of didn't see all of it. And then the second bit was I know I knit slowly, I'm still pretty new, but yes. And it was very funny. He found my confused, what the hell am I doing thing. And I was knitting on the knit night, because I was working on my one of the things that I will show you shortly, and I was just if I space out while I'm knitting stuff, I'd look down going, what in the hell was I just doing? I have no idea. And it's when I've got to do increases and sort of yarn overs and stuff, losing track is a really stupid thing to do, because then it's that's when really bad mistakes are making. And since I did the whole thing with no lifelines, if I buggered it up, I'd be toast. So it's yeah. But yes, thank you for that day, Dave and Ellie. That was really lovely to hear my name mentioned. And I also want to say thank you to Cara of Knit All the Things podcast. Since I can't remember exactly how I think I just subscribed to her podcast and then started watching and realised I know where you are in a non-stalkery way. But Cara, who is Cara B on Ravelry, and Cara Thompson on Instagram. Basically, she's a zoology student at the university that I went to for all of a year and a term. So it's every time she posts pictures on Instagram of the lovely Welsh town, I'm like, oh, I miss it so much, really. I mean, the university stuff, I was but just the place. I really liked being there. So it's I'm gonna have nostalgia. Flashbacks watching seeing Cara's Instagrams, as also she's relatively knitted longer than I have, but knitting some really cool stuff, and her podcast is really awesome, and I did kind of went through and just binge watched all of her videos, so it's and she commented on my last podcast and subscribed as well, which is really lovely. So thank you, Cara. And I like looking at the nifty things. Yeah, I think that's currently, I think, all of. Although I don't know as yet, but judging by JV's Instagram, I feel like I'm going to have to say a presumptive thank you for whatever it is you're going to do in your podcast, because I noticed my name on those show notes, and I'm very intrigued, and I've been kind of like just watching my subscription so far all day. Is it up? Is it up? Is it up? So since I don't know at this point when I'm filming it, I'm gonna say thank you for just being awesome and sort of helping make me feel quite welcome to the knitting community in my early days. So thank you, JB. And I'm now going to flip over the page of my notey notes. I do actually have kind of note things. Like, I'm going to have to spend God knows how long compiling all the links for this afterwards. Who knows? But yes, I'm now going to go and do FOs. And I have one! I have an FO! Oh my god, I have an FO! It's kind of crazy. And it is... doesn't look like much at the moment because it's currently not blocked. I've not woven in the ends. I should do that. Shush, stitch markers. Shush. And it needs blocking because it's kind of curly. But it is this. Oh, look at it. It's so awesome. And this is my FO that I spent basically like 3 days hardcore knitting on because I was so addicted to it. And it's the Age of Brass and Steam kerchief by Orange Flower Yarns, I think, on Ravelry. I shall link to both the pattern and my project page, although I need to put more photos on because the photo I've got is only when it got to about here. But it's like mostly stockinette with these sort of garter stitch yarn over ridge things, which were so kind of like, it took me like an hour just to do these 3 rows, like for each bit, because it's like 10 rows of 10 repeats of like a 2-row pattern, and then like 3 rows of that, and then another 10. So you could kind of carry on doing like another 10 and then another ridge, and depending on how, maybe I will in the future do a bigger one, because this is just like one skein of not quite one skein yarn, but it's very fun and I'm most happy with it. It needs kind of a bit of, obviously it needs kind of blocking so it does stuff properly, but yes, I could wear it like this, and then like all the ridges kind of stand out really cool, although it does kind of clash a bit with my hat. Although you can see at least the colour difference, because it's been on the pictures I've been doing, it's been showing up kind of pink, so at least here it's kind of looking actual purple. Maybe compared to that one where I'm like burgundy and pink things, it just has to look different. So yes, I'm really quite proud of this, because I went through it all. I did have to kind of rip it out and cast on twice, because I mucked up, like, because I have to start like little tiny garter tab thing. I tried starting it on circular needles and it's like, nah, no. So I kind of started it on like my straight needles and then kind of transferred it over to the circulars, and then, so I tried to actually get it to work properly. It was a bit stressy, and at one point I kind of accidentally sort of went around the centre increases, because you have to sort of make one right, which I had to look up because I did not know how to do that. Make one, slip your marker, knit one, slip the marker again, and then make one left. And at one point I kind of like, I did make one left before I slipped the marker, so I ended with 2 stitches like in between the markers, and I'm like, oh god, what have I done? And so I kind of ripped it out and started again. But then I kind of did all the rest without buggering it up, and I'm so happy. So I just need to kind of like, because it's got like little, like all kind of garter stitch things around the border, and I'm really quite proud of this. This is like the first scarf thing that I have knitted, well, non-straight scarf thing that I've knitted, like the first thing with like actual increases, and it was really fun. I really liked doing this, and I'm going to have to make another one, I think, possibly soon. Maybe I should make them a variety of colours. So I'm tempted to like try like making one where you can like just like for the garter ridges like put a different colour in, so kind of like block of one colour, different colour, block of another, and then you get the idea. So maybe at some point I will do that. So yes, that is my FO. And so that's basically, yeah. Actually, so Age of Brass and Steam pattern. I knit that using my Stylecraft double knit special in the plum colourway, which was quite cool, because this is basically from a set of yarns I got from a warehouse, that's basically like a pattern kit by a crochet blogger called Attic24. So you basically get like 15 balls of 100-gram balls of yarn for like £25, and I'm like, that seems like a good price. I mean, it's 100% acrylic, but it's quite soft, nice acrylic. It's not like the really ratty crap acrylic that I'm going to be showing in a minute that I'm making my sister scarf out of, which is a bit sad. But yes, so since I last showed, I have made some progress with my sister's scarf. Oh god, I'm nearly finished the second ball. I still haven't attached it because I haven't knit on it very much, because obviously I spent 3 days just knitting my my kerchief. But I can't remember from where I showed it because I've tied it off. But I have this one. Is the colour's totally not right, because it's like it's more an emerald green. It's not anywhere near the kind of teal that it's looking. But yes, it's my kind of 2x2 rib with a 3 braid cable thing going up the middle, and I haven't knit on it very much, and I'm currently not really enjoying knitting on it because the acrylic, after working with that 3 days, it feels awful in my hands. It feels awful. Like my hands are just like sweating, kind of just feeling the kind of raspiness in my hands, and it's like, oh god, don't want to do this. But I've made a promise to my sister, so I need to. But since I need to do at least kind of 3 balls of yarn, because it's by the end of this it's going to be about 1.20 meters, so like 3 balls and maybe a bit. Take it to like 2 meters and then do some tassels and stuff, and then it's like it's done. But it's not fun anymore now that I've like worked with superior yarn. My hands do not want to deal with this. So I have that, and I've just dropped like the little nubbin of yarn left over has just fell on the floor, so I need to retrieve now before I move. Oh. Yeah, like that's kind of all I've got left of this yarn ball, so I could perhaps get like another row or 2 out of it before I have to kind of fasten in. I want to actually try, instead of just doing a knot and for hiding it, to try and like just start a new row with the new one and like weave it in like that, however you do that. But yes, I do have a new whip that I've started trying to use the remnants of the yarn from the kerchief, since it's a kind of, there was still quite a bit left over. So what I'm doing, I'm basically going to make myself another one of these hats, these sort of crochet hats. This is like the first thing I made, but it's quite big. It's pretty roomy, so I'm trying to make a slightly smaller one in like this plum colour. And I have like, I hadn't balled it up. I balled up part of it and I got bored because it was going to take ages, so I couldn't be bothered. But yesterday, when I took it with me when I went to Birmingham with my friend for bookish reasons, there's a video about that over on my other channel actually. I'll chuck a link for that in the doobly-doo if anyone cares. But I sat while we were waiting for the author that we were there to see to arrive. I just sat and pulled this out of my bag and started winding it around. My friend was sat next to me reading a book. I was sat winding a ball of yarn. Because why not? Why not indeed? So I have like this much left. I think it's about 25 grams, maybe, possibly more. I don't know. But what I have so far, let me just free the hook a bit, is I have about 3 rows of the front post double crochet, and I basically didn't count how many chains I did when I started off. I have no clue. I just like, and at some point I'm looking at it. I swear how I'm chaining is just weird. It just doesn't look right at the moment. I was like, that doesn't look right. Am I doing this right? Am I hooking it over wrong? I have no idea. But yes, currently I don't know if it's gonna fit yet. We're gonna see. If not, I'm giving it to someone. But I don't know if I'm gonna have enough yarn to get it as like long as this. So if I do run out, I'll be adding in the teal, because that'll work. Purple and teal, they're 2 of my favourite colours. I don't mind if the crown of my hat is like teal. I think that'd be quite cool. So yes, that is my current work in progress, and it is living in a little bag that I will show you, that I'm secretly really proud of, even though it's like trash. This basically is a little bag made out of, I think, fabric that got made into curtains or pillows or some kind of bedding for either my aunt or my nan, I can't remember who. But it's got this like, kind of leaf pattern thing on it. And I made this. I did the sewing on this, which is why it's so terrible, because it's like with like yellow cotton, you can just sort of see there, or it's like that, it's so not straight. And there was a little pocket on the front, and there was like tea stains also. Ooh, speaking of tea. Tea break. Oh, I've caught this just before it goes over into the kind of threshold of just disgusting, you know, where the tea's not... I drink my tea pretty hot, so if it gets into just lukewarm, it's like, oh. But this is kind of just about still got enough, kind of like that slightly feeling like you're scalding your throat. I quite like that. I feel like I'm not awake enough if my throat's not on fire. It is also in my very cool mug, which says sauvé en bambou, manger en panda, which is a mug I kind of acquired from a company I worked for, which printed mugs. We printed quite a few of these kind of mugs for a French company, and I really loved them all, so I kind of stole quite a few of them. I have quite a few mugs that I took from there. One of them, I have an Elephant Cafe mug, because we printed mugs for them, so that was like, yeah, I have one of those. Never been to the cafe, but I have one. So yes, this is one of my favourites. No, I have a more favourite that's kind of a bit rude. I feel like drinking. I'm not supposed to inhale. God. Okay, put it down, Rachel. Put it down. So yes, I have that in my really crappy little bag. So I'm gonna take that with me, I think, when I go to my parents' tomorrow, maybe. Or should I take my sister's scarf, since she's probably gonna be expecting progress? I should probably show her that I'm making progress. I don't know, but yes, I'm gonna see how far I get with that before I run out of yarn. I'm hoping I'm gonna get reasonably far, and that'll be quite good. Excuse me. I'm gonna tuck the. Obviously, that's in the remnants of this one. Took the. Stop hiccuping, Rachel. God. Ball band's in there. I should probably tuck the other ball of yarn in case I need it. I also actually wanted to. I still stuff in my grand's cockerel still sort of hook adjacent. Still haven't touched it. Don't know why, just haven't. But I wanted to quick show you. So I made myself some stitch markers when I had to make my shawl. I needed 2 stitch markers. So I basically made myself these. Ooh, that could be a really cool thumbnail if I just got them like, oh. These little medallion things were off like little neck collars we had on these lint reindeer. You know like how they sort of normally have like lint chocolate bunnies, but for Christmas they sort of changed them up a bit and give them reindeer foil, and so like those the little things they had round the neck on elastic, so I cut those off, and then, but the little things they're attached to is obviously too small for my needles, so I kind of ransacked 2 bracelets that I had that were kind of those bracelets that have like you have a little T-bar and then you sort of fish it through a hook, like the circle thing to stay up. I don't wear bracelets. I very rarely wear any jewellery, makeup at all. So like bracelets, I have really, really tiny wrists. So bracelets often will either fall off my hand or just like they'll just not sit right if they're like solid bangle type things. So I kind of filch them off there since I don't wear them. And I made myself some little stitch markers, which worked very well. And I'm quite pleased with those. It was like Crafty, yeah. So I have those. And I don't have any acquisitions, although I will soon, because I have ordered some things that will hopefully arrive. Maybe, I don't know, one I've already had an email saying it's been dispatched. The others I haven't yet, so I don't know. They're not yarn, they're more tools. It's more tool, like kit enhancement rather than stash enhancement. So hopefully they'll arrive for when I do the next podcast. But that'd be quite cool. So that's like all of my whips. Do I have any other things written down? Let us see. Yeah, basically I was sort of thinking like about in terms of like needle adjacenty stuff, like what other things do? I don't know. Because I was thinking for I'm still kind of not in a position that I would feel confident attacking like garmenty stuff where like gauge is an issue. That's a bit too soon. So like doing sort of shawls and like things like that, I think are gonna sort of give me practice using like increasing stuff, not just straight scarf knitting where it's just keep the same number of stitches, do not make stitches. I did accidentally at one point add a yarn over there. It's like next sort of row, I'm like, what is this? Just drop it off. And but hopefully I shall try and do some. I would like to try maybe knitting some hats. That's what one of the purchases that I've made is to be able to allow me to do kind of hat things, and hopefully it will be big enough, small enough maybe to do that. But so it's like I don't know what else to do yet in terms of new projects, because I don't also feel confident yet trying to knit socks, because although I think Dave probably lives in fear of the day that I can knit socks, in case I am then suddenly faster than he is. But I won't be learning to knit socks just yet, so I'll be little Sally the Snail kind of knitter for a bit longer while I'm trying to do that. But once my I'll probably might need to get some like DPNs if I'm gonna knit my sister some mittens to go with this scarf. Although God knows that yarn will be awful for hands. I'm sorry. So yeah, but like for sort of future projects at the moment, I don't know. I'm going to be knitting my friend Jess a scarf, which I need to acquire yarn for, because she needs in particular colours. So at some point I'm going to have to find some nice yarn. I'm tempted to make a trip back to Hobbycraft, because they have like some like the sort of WI, like Women's Industry, have their own range of yarn, which is quite surprisingly quite nice, and like they have a nice yellow there which will suit my purposes. So I might have to get some of that, and so I can start knitting my friend a scarf, which will probably be a Christmas present, because her birthday's kind of already gone. Unless we move it, because we're probably going to move her birthday. It's been agreed. But anyway, that's kind of a potential project. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Based on what kind of stash I have, I'd rather like to kind of work through some of the stash I have, even though it's all kind of acrylic and it's all just single balls of like one colour. It's not fun. So let me just grab, because it's all just like single balls of 100 gram stuff like this. So I mean, I could do stuff where I have like 2 colours and see how far I get like that. I actually need to take one of these out, because I need to take it to my... I need to cut some lengths of that for my sister, because she needs that. But there's like some other different colours in there, so I shall have to have a look. I should probably put it all up on Ravelry actually, so I can maybe see what things I could make with it. I don't know. But I have to like browse. I keep browsing the patterns, like the free patterns, because I can't really afford to spend loads of money on patterns at the moment. So it's like, what stuff in the free patterns is easy enough for me to do, and what do I have the needles for? So I don't know. I'm rambling now, and I do this when I have not much else to say. And yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I kind of last time I was like, yeah, so let's talk about my sort of knitting history thing. How did I get into this? And it's like, I've said that now. Although I think, even though my last video was really long, I think I talked way too fast. And that's a problem I have. I do talk very, very fast sometimes, and it ends up with a lot of stuttering, and also just a lot of incomprehensibility, where I just seem to slur words into nothingness. I mean, the video I filmed earlier from my other channel is just madness. It's just, there are some bits of that where I'm just mashing up words into just the weirdest stuff. The weirdest things. I don't really understand. But yes, I think if I keep this short, rather than like the 45-minute monster that the last one was, and maybe if I try and keep it to like a 30-minute kind of thing, rather than trying to aim for like 45 minutes, because I just don't have enough stuff to talk about for that. I just don't, because obviously don't knit fast enough to produce that kind of much stuff. And I don't have any sort of acquisitions of pretty yarns, and none of y'all are going to want to stay around if I've not got any pretty yarns. So you just got to deal with my face, and it's not the best thing, because it's just like tired because I keep staying up late because I'm coming home at stupid o'clock. But yes, I'm going to I'll leave this about now, and I shall now have to like go and, whilst I'm waiting for this upload, find all the links that I need to put in the show notes. I'm not gonna set up a RAV group as yet, because it's a bit too premature, I think, a bit too early. So if you have any comments, like liking the video, or if you've got any ideas for like patents, like in projects I can do that's still easy enough for beginner me, but not so like just straight scars, because I will get very, very bored of those. And preferably for DK yarn, because I have all I have so far is DK yarn. So if you want to leave a comment down below, that'd be great. I can't really say this. I have 11 subscribers. I can't say 12 because technically one of them is my other channel, because I have subscribed to themselves. But so thank you to the 11 people who have subscribed to my channel so far. That is really great. And the fact that my other podcast has like 50 something views, that's more views than I get on most of my book videos, over several of them. So thank you for everyone who has watched. And that's really great, and that's kind of more than I expected. Because I know I'm obviously still. I realised afterwards I should have named it the Newbie Knitter podcast. That would have been really sensible, because I am a newbie knitter. See, these waves of genius come to me 2 weeks after they're really necessary. Such sad. But anyways, I shall toddle off and get this uploaded, and then I need to go and help when the boy gets home from work very soon, because he's got a load of dishes to do. I've got to make the dinner, so that's our kind of evening, and then tomorrow it's off to the parents. And unless I happen to accidentally find a yarn store somewhere near my parents, which I don't know of any, but who knows what might happen. But maybe, depending on what happens by way of stuff I get done, stuff that arrives, I don't know, I shall maybe post a video next week or the week after, because at the end of February I'm going to be in France, so there will be nothing in that week. But we'll see. But anyway, I hope you're having a nice Friday. It's Friday. I'm so confused. I never know what day it is anymore. Hiccups, God, can you not? But yes, thank you for watching. I have been Ray, and I am now going to go. Toodles! Bye.